Anyway, let me bring my notes over there. We're gonna start laying down and bending our knees and just checking in with ourselves. So knees bent, feet flat on floor, and arms by our side, palms up. You can either bring your feet mat width and touch your knees together, or you can bring your feet together and bring your knees out into butterfly. So whichever one feels good to you. Tonight we're going to lay here for a few moments, just checking in. And once you find where you want your legs to be, taking some nice cleansing breaths, and you can bring your hands to your belly and just feel your belly rise and fall with each breath. With each breath, sinking a little bit lower. A little bit more relaxed. This is the full beaver moon, the time to nourish yourself and to rest. It's usually when they build their shelter for the winter. So we're preparing for the winter months, remembering that we slow down and shelter in place a bit more. You can release what no longer serves you from the previous moon cycle or from the previous season, and welcome change. Whatever things you're welcoming today will be illuminated with the full moon. Whatever you wish to manifest for the coming months, just set your intention now. Could just be for tonight, or it could be for the next few months. And the affirmation I chose for tonight is, I know what nourishes my mind and body. I know what nourishes my mind and body. So take a few moments and a few breaths to just set your intention. And take a nice deep breath, deepest one you have, and let it all out. We're gonna bring our feet back to the mat in the center and windshield wiper our knees side to side, just massaging the lower back. And opening up the hips a little bit. We'll be doing a lot of leg work, moon salutations. So just taking care of the hips and the low back a little bit here. really exaggerating the massage side to side. Then coming to stop in the center, we'll do a couple of bridge poses. So inhaling, so flattening our feet, knees are parallel, and inhaling our hips all the way up to the sky. Exhaling, roll the back down, making sure to hit each vertebrae really slow. And on the inhale, tucking the tailbone and inhaling all the way up. And on the exhale, flatten the spine one vertebrae at a time, all the way through to the tailbone. A couple more on your own breath, inhaling all the way up and exhaling, rolling down. Letting out any tension in the back and spine. And after your next exhale, we'll just gently roll onto our side, making a pillow with our arm. And then slowly coming up to sit in a cross-legged position. I need to make sure that you can hear me okay?
Yes. Great.
Okay. So we're gonna just move straight into cat and cow. So our knees are under our hips and hands under our shoulders. On the inhale, we'll drop the belly and we'll look up. And exhale, rounding the spine all the way up to the sky. So really exaggerate the inhale, dropping the belly, and exaggerate the exhale, rounding everything up. A couple more on your own breath. Releasing and letting go of any tension. And after your next exhale, we're going to come to a flat back and do thread the needle. So we'll inhale the left arm up to the sky. Do a couple of wrist circles, releasing any tension there in that shoulder. And then on an exhale, thread that arm underneath the right armpit, coming down onto the shoulder. Finding the weight in your shoulder and not in your neck. Releasing here. Breathing really deep into that shoulder blade and the upper ribs. And on the exhale, just sinking a little bit more. You can use that right hand to kind of twist yourself a little bit further. And when you feel comfortable, you can lift that right arm to the sky or leave it where it is on the ground. Doing those wrist circles on this side. And if it's good for you, you can wrap that arm around, trying to grab for the left thigh. Inhaling, exhaling on the twist. And not feeling any tension in the neck. Breathing into the upper back. Looking towards the ceiling if you can. One more inhale, and on the exhale, bring that right arm back down to the floor. And then inhale that left arm all the way up to the ceiling. and plant it back down into all fours. So we're going to do the same on the other side. So we'll inhale the right arm up. Do a couple of arm twists into the shoulder, releasing any tension in the wrists. Big inhale, and then exhale it through under the left arm, coming onto the shoulder. Finding the weight in the shoulder, breathing into the twist. A little bit of tension with that left hand. And when you find a good spot, you can lift that arm up if you are comfortable. Doing a couple of twists into the shoulder here. And then if you want to wrap it behind your back, grabbing for the left thigh, looking towards the ceiling. And then deep breaths into that upper back, shoulder blade. On the next exhale, just replace that left hand. And then inhale the right arm back up to the ceiling. And place it next to your left arm. We'll just lean back into a wide-legged child's pose. Knees are towards the edge of the mat. Really reaching your arms first. And then lowering the forehead to the mat. Deep breaths into the ribs and upper back. And sink lower with the exhales. Releasing on every exhale, just a little bit more. Full moon's about releasing everything and letting it go. And then we're just gonna roll all the way up to sit on our heels and actually come up to standing slowly. So tucking the toes and rolling up. And we'll start our standing poses. We'll start in mountain pose. So really find your grounded feet, spreading the toes wide. Feet are parallel, knees are parallel. Hips are tucked down and under. Rolling the shoulders back and down the spine or down the back. Hands pointing forward. We're going to find all four corners of our feet. So let's lean a little bit into our toes. And then a little bit into our heels. Finding your center here. Toes. And then heels. And then we'll lean into the right foot and the left foot. Right. And then left. And then let's see if we can do just a gentle circle. So we're going into our toes and then our right foot and then our heels and then our left. Really just moving the weight in this gentle circle. And then reversing that circle so that the weight shifts in the counterclockwise direction. And then landing in the center. So we want all the weight in the four corners of our feet. Okay, we want to feel that throughout the moon salutation, all four corners grounded. So I'm going to start with joy breaths. Joy breath is inhale, arms straight up in front. And then exhale, arms go out, shining your heart. Inhale, up over our head. And then exhale, drop everything down to our toes and just release. Then inhale, arms come up parallel. Exhale, shine your heart. Inhale, up. Exhale, everything down. We'll do that a couple more times. Inhale, arms straight forward. Exhale, out. Inhale them up. And exhale, everything out. Inhale up. Exhale, shine your heart. Inhale, straight up. Exhale, everything out. And then let's just roll up slowly and get ready for the moon salutations. Okay. For Crescent Moon, we're going to glue our feet together. Feel all four corners of our feet. And inhale our arms up and overhead. Locking our thumbs together, keeping those four corners of our feet glued together into the ground. Then we lean into Crescent Moon. Feeling that whole side of our body from heel through to the tips of our fingers, looking up and shining our heart. Nice deep breath, and then exhale to center. Inhale up and over to the other side. Really feel this stretch through the whole side body and shining our heart, looking up, and exhale to the center. One more to each side. Up, and the other side. And up. And stepping as wide as you can into Goddess. We'll turn our toes pointing at a 45-degree angle. We'll go into Goddess. So we're bending our knees towards our toes, tucking our tailbone under, coming down to Goddess on the exhale, and on the inhale, coming up. Cactus those arms, exhale, inhale up. And on the last one here, hold it down, tuck that tailbone under. Feel strong, and come on up. We'll turn both feet towards the right, or towards me if that's better, so you can see. Coming into triangle, so keeping our hips forward, we're gonna take our arms out to the side. We're gonna lean as far as we can over that front foot before we twist. Now, this is a time if you have a block or something you need. The goal is to keep both legs straight. So if you need to be up here to be straight, that's fine. Or lower. Arms are in a straight T. Looking up if it's good for your neck. Or letting it dangle. Find those four corners of your feet. They should still be there. Glued to the mat. Inhale. Squeeze those inner thighs together. And on the exhale, bend that front knee coming onto your elbows. So we have a front knee. There we go. Side angle. Inhale that top arm up and over. Really feel the stretch all the way through. Knees at a 90-degree angle here. Nice big breaths. And then we're going to just turn into that lunge. So both hands come to the side of that foot. My legs didn't change. There's no high lunge. If you want to come down to the low lunge, here let's really feel that stretch in the back leg. The hand, what is it called? Oh, hip flexor.
There you go. I don't know.
Hip flexor. So you can come up on your high lunge or low lunge. You can hold on to your knee, or you can hold on to the floor. So wherever it feels good tonight, take a few deep breaths into that hip flexor there. And then we'll come into high lunge and straighten both legs again into the forward fold. So we're going to come towards the front with both legs straight. Wide-legged forward fold. Hands can be on the floor or on a block if you need it. So we're going to have a straight back first here, straight legs. Coming down to a spot that's comfortable for you to hang. So we can just grab both elbows and hang here for a few breaths, sinking a little bit lower with each exhale. Checking in with your feet to make sure you have all four corners glued down. Breathing into the back of the legs, the inner thighs, wherever you're feeling the release here. And then on the next exhale, we're going to come up onto our fingertips and rotate towards the other side. Now, if you want to just switch your legs, you can, so you can still see. But I'm just going to the other side here. And we're starting with that low lunge. So dropping the back knee or the high lunge, kind of going between the two, stretching that other hamstring. Breathing into that, not hamstring, hip flexor. I got my words wrong tonight. You can come up onto that front knee with your hands if that feels good. Really stretching that hip forward. And then on the next exhale, we come into that side angle. So we're going to plant the back foot at a 45-degree angle. The front knee's at a 90-degree angle. Come onto our elbow and then really stretch that top arm up and over, looking up to the sky, feeling the stretch all the way through from the heel to the fingertips, engaging those inner thighs, and then we'll straighten the front leg into triangle. So arms reach over that toe and then twist into the triangle here. Both legs are straight, holding the shin or the ankle, or if you have a block, looking up towards the sky, engaging the inner thighs, checking in with your feet, a deep breath, and coming up. Whew. back into goddess, where we started. Couple of goddess up and down. And jumping the feet together or just bringing them together into our crescent moon, inhaling our arms up and exhaling over. Inhaling center, really stretching, and exhaling the other way. And inhale back to center, hands to heart. All right. We're just going to go back through it, but faster this time. We're not going to take so many breaths in between. So we're going to do a little bit of a flow. Okay. So, inhaling up. Exhaling to one side. Inhaling up. Exhaling the other side. Inhale center. Jump or step legs into goddess. Coming down and then up. Turning both feet towards the right. Leaning straight. Legs leaning into triangle. Excuse me. Big deep breath. And then twist or bending the knee into side angle. And then exhaling into our lunge. You can either touch the ground or come into the high lunge, the warrior one. And then both legs come forward into that forward fold. Straight back down. Exhaling here for a moment before we go to the other side. And then we walk our hands over to the other foot into that high lunge or warrior one if you want to bring your arms up. And then turning the back foot into the side angle, coming onto the elbow. And then straightening that front leg into triangle. And squeezing the legs on the way up into goddess. Jumping the feet together. Crescent. And hands to heart, relaxing the shoulders back down. Taking a few moments to check in with the breathing. Got hot. We're going to come back down into child's pose for a moment just to slow our breathing down again and come back to our intention. And get a drink. So wide knees if you like that, or knees together. Really shining the heart down towards the mat and then forehead. Checking in again with how you're feeling now and releasing anything else you want to release. And my affirmation is, I know what nourishes my mind and body. I know what nourishes my mind and body. All right, on our next exhale, just roll yourself back up to sitting on your heels. And we're gonna do one more moon salutation. So coming up to a stand, into our mountain pose. Finding our four corners, rolling our shoulders back and down. Finding those hips underneath our ribs and our ribs under our shoulders. So we're going to inhale up. Instead of crescent pose, we're going to do a slight back bend. So we'll inhale our arms up to touch. Just leaning back just ever so slightly. And then exhaling, coming back up. We'll come into warrior one. So we're going to step that front foot forward, pointing the toes, and bending that front foot or front knee at a 90-degree angle. Warrior one was arms up overhead, but we're going to do a little bit of a twist. So instead of the same elbow coming down, we're going to do the opposite elbow. So it's a bit of a balance here. If you can't get your elbow, then maybe the floor is easier. So twist, looking the other way. And then exhaling back into warrior one. And then opening the arms into warrior two. So just looking straight forward, arms straight out, warrior two. And now, if we want to go into warrior three for a balance, we're going to lean towards that bent knee and come up into a balance. So really keeping a straight line, looking at the floor, or keeping the toes down. Also, if you have a wall, you can hold on to the wall.
I've got a couch.
Yeah. Warrior three is trying to stay in a straight line, either arms back or arms forward. My wall's in a perfect spot. Flex that foot like you're kicking the back wall. And then come into that warrior one and warrior two. Okay, then we're just gonna go grab our hips and come straight back down into that forward fold. Again, grabbing elbows and exhaling all the tension out, melting the back of the legs. Making sure our feet are parallel with the sides of the mat. Feeling the stretch. And releasing just a little bit more with each exhale. Remembering to release the neck. Maybe a couple of yeses and nos with the head. And then walking our hands back up to find our hips and come up with a straight back. We're just going to turn the other way. So we had warrior one first. So bending the other knee, bringing the arms straight up and over. Shoulders are away from the ears. Really squeezing the thighs together. And then warrior two, opening the arms up into a straight line, hips face forward. Feeling the strength from all four corners of the feet. And then we're going to try to lean towards that bent knee into that warrior three. So coming up onto the toes in the back and then lifting into a straight line. Flexing the foot like you're kicking the back wall. Holding on to something if you need to. Finding some stillness. And then dropping back into the lunge when you need to. And, oh, we didn't do the twist. So warrior one twist. So we come up to warrior one, and then we twist our opposite elbow to that knee. And if it's more comfortable, we can also put that hand by our foot and then twist. Find your balance here. Looking up and over towards the ceiling, breathing into the twist, and then exhaling out of it, back into warrior one, and then back into wide-legged, jumping our feet together, or twisting them together, mountain pose, inhaling up, slight back bend, and then exhaling, hands to heart. Got our heart rate up tonight. I did at least. We're gonna start to slow down now. So let's do our ragdoll. So we're just gonna keep our legs together here, and you can generously bend the knees if you like it. Bring your belly towards the thighs and just roll all the way down. Letting your hands hang, letting your neck hang. Yeses and nos. Grabbing the elbows if that feels good to you. Allowing your breath to slow back down. Really deep breaths into the upper back, releasing any tension you made there. And then we're just gonna roll slowly and gently up, one vertebrae at a time, letting our arms fall by our side. Neck is last. And come into a yogi squat. So we'll turn our toes out and widen our stance a bit. Knees come towards our knees come towards our feet. Elbows towards our knees. If you can't come all the way down, you can sit on something like this. Hands to heart. Straightening our back. Breathing into the hips here. The goal is to get our heels towards the ground. Sit bones towards the earth and crown towards the ceiling. Lengthening on each breath and pushing out on our knees with the exhale. And then gently take your hands to the ground and slowly help yourself back to sit. Bringing our feet together into butterfly. So you can do feet really close in and grab your toes, or if you want them a little bit out tonight, whatever's best for you. What we're gonna do is grab our toes, push our knees out as wide as they go, straight back. Inhale up, tall. Exhale, lean, straight forward. Inhale, tall. Exhale, lean a little bit more. In each inhale, lengthen, exhale, round over. Wherever you are, just breathe in to the inner thighs. Take a couple breaths here. And on your next exhale, just come on up and lift your knees towards each other. Let's do that windshield wiper like we did laying down. So feet are wide. We'll just drop both knees to one side and the other. Really letting out any tension in the hips and the lower back. And massaging the sciatic in there a little bit, side to side.
Is this good to do for that?
What?
For the sciatic, is this good to do for that?
Yeah, it really feels good for me in my like in the butt muscle.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, you can stop and kind of massage a little bit on each side. The IT band goes in there too. All right, we'll do some more IT band stretching here. So we're gonna come onto our back. We'll do recline pigeon and twist, and then Savasana. So get the stuff you want to relax with, a sweater or blanket or pillow, and have those ready. All right, so for recline pigeon, we start with our knees bent. Bring the right ankle over the left knee. Really push that right knee out, and then you can lift up, flexing both feet into a figure 4 here. And you can reach through your legs, grabbing the back of the left thigh, pushing that elbow on the right, keeping that 90-degree angle in both knees, and flexing the feet to protect the knee, pulling in as far as you can. That feels good to you. Keeping the back flat on the floor. Neck is flat, or the head is down. Using the breath to melt any more tension. And on the next exhale, just release that foot down and switch the left ankle onto the right knee. Bringing up that knee and pushing the left knee out with the elbow, coming thread through to the back of the right thigh. Flexing both feet here. Making sure that the spine is down. And then on the exhale, you can hug that knee just a little bit tighter. One more good breath. And then on your exhale, you can release that foot down. We will put our arms in a T and cross the right foot over the left. I like to shift my hips over to the right a little bit and then drop both knees down to the mat. Both shoulders stay down on the mat. And if you like to take the weight of your left hand, you can kind of massage down the thigh and put some weight on that knee. Looking over the right shoulder, making sure both shoulders are down. Breathe deep into this twist and let go of any muscles that you're holding. Release the muscles in the face, the jaw. See if you're holding any other muscles. Sometimes I'm holding some toes in a weird place. Let everything go. Breathe into the belly and the ribs, and then exhale the ribs and the belly. Really deep breaths here. Get your final twists out. And on your next exhale, we'll just roll back up and unwind. Taking the left leg up and over the right. Shifting the hips a little bit towards the left first and then dropping them. Looking towards the left side, shoulders are on the ground. Exhaling any tension here. Maybe taking that right hand to guide that left thigh up and over. Massaging down from the hip to the knee and then resting the weight on your knee. Noticing where you have to release any tension, maybe the forehead, the eyes. Breathing into the twist. Your deepest one. Let it all twist out. And then on the exhale, let's just roll back up and set ourselves up for Savasana. So we'll stretch our legs as far as they go. Sometimes a pillow is nice under the knees. Turning our toes out to the sides. Palms are down by our sides. Facing up to the sky. Shoulder blades are down in the back. If you have something to put over your eyes, you could do that now. But let's take a couple of rolls side to side with our head, just to find the center here. And after a couple side to side motions, just come to rest in the center of your head. Releasing everything into the earth here. Gently looking at the inside of the eyelids. And maybe resting the tongue on the roof of the mouth behind the front teeth. Gently smiling. Feeling the rise and fall of your belly. With each breath sinking a little bit deeper into relaxation. The feet are relaxing. The legs are relaxing. The belly and the hips are relaxing. The chest and the shoulders are relaxing. The arms and the wrists, the fingers are relaxing. The neck, the scalp, the jaw are relaxing. The eyes and the mouth and the forehead are relaxing. The whole face is relaxing. The whole body is relaxing. Sinking deeper and deeper with each breath into the floor. Feeling your belly go up and down with each breath. In just a moment, I'll ring the bell to bring us back. Wiggling the toes and the fingers to slowly wake up our body. When you're ready, stretching out as long as you can. Maybe bringing the right leg to the chest, right knee to the chest. Hugging it in, the left knee to the chest, hugging it in. Both knees, hugging them tight if that feels good to you. And when you're ready, making a pillow with one arm, rolling onto your side. And just taking a moment here before sitting up. I know what nourishes my body and mind. Coming slowly up to a seated position when you're ready. Cross-legged. We'll just open our arms as wide as they can. Take a deep breath. Give yourself a nice big hug. May you be well. Another really big breath, opening wide. Put the other arm on top. May you be safe. And one more. May you be peaceful. Hands to heart. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for doing yoga with me.
Thank you for having me.